Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my pre-distant subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing a couple topics today. Ghislaine Maxwell, 9/11, Nancy Guthrie, which I think is how you pronounce her last name. I'm probably saying it incorrectly. Her abduction. We're talking about the Epstein file. And lastly, but not the least, we're going to talk about is an ally an actual enemy? We talked about this before, but we're going to touch upon it again in today's video. Now, if you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, and the bell icon, engage with the content. Sharing this video with others really helps boost the algorithm here on this YouTube channel. And if you want to be notified when I do post and upload, go into the comments or the description, from my Facebook group and my Blue Sky account, and I will personally notify you when I do post and upload next. So keep in mind that this video is being recorded on Sunday at February 15th, at 9:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as of when I'm recording this video. Now, I do want to also explain too that this video is just for entertainment and for educational purposes only as well. All right, so let's get on with it. We have a lot to get through in today's video. I'm going to take some water and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, let's start. Okay, so Ghislaine Maxwell. I have a thing that's listed here. Who is this Maxwell and where is she? So if you have seen recently, there was, I think it was posted online, I've seen all these images of Ghislaine Maxwell, and people are saying that's not her. So let me just pull up a picture of this Ghislaine Maxwell, and we're going to find out, is that actually Ghislaine Maxwell or is it not? And then we're going to find out where is she if that isn't her. Which I'm pretty sure that is not her, because this person that they supposedly said was Ghislaine Maxwell looks like an Asian man. So I'm going to show you right now. And they could have just went with somebody who could have looked a little bit more like Ghislaine, but they did not. Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm trying to find you the photo because I was very unequipped today. Okay. New photo. Oh, come on. Gotta be kidding me. Where is that photo? So now we obviously know that this is Ghislaine Maxwell. This is what she looks like when she's on camera. It's pretty much, what you would expect her to look like. However, with her long hair, you think she look like that. But then when she has short hair, she kind of ends up looking like this. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what apparently they posted online not too long ago, that this is supposedly her. So let me see if I could find that photo of her right here. They said this is her. Okay. First of all, that looks like an Asian man. That does not look like in any capacity like Ghislaine Maxwell. So let's ask the cards. Is that Ghislaine Maxwell? And if it is, she's obviously transitioning. But let's go ahead, let's take a look. So, Spirit Angel Tommy, is that photo of Ghislaine Maxwell actually Ghislaine Maxwell? That photo of Ghislaine Maxwell that you say is Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so the first couple cards that we have here, the first card that comes in is the Five of Cups reverse. The Five of Cups reverse normally indicates sadness, disparity, a funeral. It's reverse. Hello, Doris. How are you, my love? And it's also being coupled and coincided right next to the King of Pentacles. It means money. It means hidden money. It doesn't mean open money. It doesn't mean public money. It means something hidden. So there is hidden payment here. And here you have is the magician, the fool, the trickery, the deceiver, the magician. And then you have here is the Four of Pentacles. This doesn't feel in any capacity like this is Ghislaine Maxwell. And why do I know this? But the Four of Pentacles normally indicates somebody who's trying to hold on to power, somebody who's trying to hold on to their advantage. And if anything, Ghislaine Maxwell is at a disadvantage because she is the one in jail. So she should be at a disadvantage. But here it said that she's in the advantage. And if you look at a lot of things here, there are some factors going on here. And there's two stories to the coin. The first story is that what we have here, we have this man who is supposed to be stabbed, but it's reversed. It is reversed because this is not actually her. And it's being coupled with hidden money, which means that this is a setup. This was a setup being co-joined by the magician, which is the trickery, coupled with the Four of Pentacles. This person is not nervous in any capacity. This is not somebody who wants to hold on to power. So what does that mean? This means that this is not Ghislaine Maxwell. But also, you're probably asking, well, where is she? What's happened? Well, this cards also explains where Ghislaine Maxwell is simultaneously. Well, in order to know that, you look at this card here, which is the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is reversed because it means, being sad and stuff like that. And it's a funeral card, but it's reversed because it's supposed to be a spark and it's supposed to be hiding in the shadows. Right? When people sometimes fake their deaths, they're in the shadow. No one ever knows, no one ever questions. The thing is here is to not question. That's what they're hoping, is to not get you to question where is Ghislaine Maxwell. That obviously backfired. It's coming next to the King of Pentacles, which means money, hitting floor money, which means she gets a streamline of income to kind of have somewhat of a comfortable lifestyle even in jail. And here you have the Magician card with the trickery, the great deceiver. So I wouldn't be surprised if in some capacity, in some way, Ghislaine Maxwell either paid for somebody to pose as her, or somebody paid the person who's giving money to Ghislaine Maxwell to have a comfortable life in prison is also paying for somebody to pretend to be her on the national stage. And it's followed by the last card here, which is the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles refers is, again, she's not worried about being in a disadvantage. She realizes that she has an advantage here. She has an upper hand. And so it doesn't feel like that picture that I just showed you, which I'm going to re-show you right now, is not Ghislaine Maxwell. This is not Ghislaine Maxwell. So, no, that is not her. And we notice she is in hiding because the cards have said it. So let's figure out, where is Ghislaine Maxwell and is she in jail still? Spirit angels, tell me, where is Ghislaine Maxwell? Okay, so we have a couple cards flipping. The first card that only flipped upright. And so we have a Ten of Cups. This is like full freedom. Look at this. This is not somebody that's in containment. This is not somebody who's locked away in jail. This is freedom. So where is Ghislaine Maxwell? She is free. She's doing something. She's out there living the comfortable lifestyle. Because, hello Dennis, how are you, my love? The thing is that Ghislaine Maxwell is protected within the vicinity of this jail. Now, I don't know what jail she's in, but it feels rather comfortable. Whether it's not, it feels more like a resort or a hotel stay rather than a form of punishment. And this Ten of Cups here is indicating that nature, indicating this resort, this hotel style vibe for Ghislaine Maxwell. It feels like she's living her life large, but also having all these guards protect her. The state that she went after, the state that she blackmailed, is protecting her, keeping her identity a secret. What else do we need to know? We have the Ace of Swords. It fell into the left side, which means the past. Her past, whatever she knows, can slay the king. What does that mean? It means that whatever Ghislaine Maxwell is aware of and her advantages, it could slay somebody. It could slay somebody very powerful. It can bring them down. That's why it's in the past, because her information relies in the past, not the pretense, not the future, the past. She has information in the past that she can expose and is at her disposal. Now, when it comes to her future for Ghislaine Maxwell, what can we expect? Well, we have the Lover's card, disconnection. Disconnect. This is telling me that in the future, Ghislaine Maxwell, with her relationship with certain people that she built a networking system with, are going to start to crumble, disconnect, and start to attack her and turn on her. And because of that, she's going to feel very closed in, very boxed off, very unable to essentially not govern, excuse me, but in her own way, she's ineffectively able to create demand to have an advantage point. And at that point, she creates a new advantage. And that new advantage is very simple. She has to simply tell the truth. She just tells the truth because that is her last advantage point. When she's backed up in the wall, she uses the Lover's card in reverse to tell a story. Because when she realizes that those around her show her that she is meaningless to them, that she had no meaning to them, that is when she starts to change. That is when she starts to turn. Because it is her last desperate attempt to have the last say, her last desperate attempt to have their advantage. If it's in her favor, she will pursue it. If it's not in her favor, she will not pursue it. So Ghislaine Maxwell operates in terms of the advantage point. What benefits her and what doesn't? Okay, I don't know what she means, Sarah, but okay, thank you. And so that is what we can kind of understand. So we know what Ghislaine Maxwell is. She's in a very comfortable environment. What kind of either she's in a prison cell being protected by the guard, but it says that she owned blackmail. So essentially what I'm saying is that she's protected by a government agency that she herself blackmailed. And because of that blackmail, they are using it to protect her. We also explained already in this video that the image of her is not Ghislaine Maxwell. Now let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Ghislaine Maxwell's fate long term coinciding with Donald Trump. Now, why is this important and why are we talking about it? We're talking about it for a couple of reasons. The first thing is that if you want to go ahead and watch some of my other Ghislaine Maxwell videos in relation to Donald Trump, the Fifth Amendment, and stuff like that, that will be all in the description at the end of today's video. And in one of those videos, I talked about how when Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be set up to testify, she has to make a decision. Is she going to plead the fifth, or is she going to tell? And what happens if she lies under oath, and what happens if she doesn't lie under oath? And there's a very, very big story. And also, we talked about as well in the past couple of videos, is what happens if she gets a slap on the wrist? What if Donald Trump pardons her, or I don't know what the other power that he can do, but what if he does that and it makes him guilty? That's essentially the hindsight here. So that's why we're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell's fate and Donald Trump, because together they coincide. Because Ghislaine Maxwell in the cards already said that the Ace of Swords, fall in the past tense, means that she has a power. She has the advantage point to take down a king, to take down a powerful entity. So now, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump. Okay. Okay, so we had a couple of cards the way they fell. So the first card that comes in is the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the Six of Swords, followed by the World card, the Magician, and the Past facing the future. So now all the cards that are facing in this direction means it's indicating an influence in the past. Any card that's in this area means it's about the future. So when we talk about the relationship and the dynamic between Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump, the first thing that we're going to notice is their relationship together, their working, their habits, their connection, what made them work together, what made them the perfect partner. Right? Obviously, you could tell based off of this that there was many instances where they were together. There were many instances where they were connected. So there is many linkers here. It's not going to be very easy for them to try to erase that. There's a lot more proof of the connection than there isn't. Hello, BJ. How are you, my love? And here on the right side here in the future card, we have the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is rather interesting because the Six of Swords is heading in the future direction. It means getting out of troubled water into smoother, calmer waters. And now we're talking about the combination, the relationship dynamic between Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump. And the fact that this is referring to the past relationship and them wanting to get out of this, to have everybody ignore the thing that they did in the past, the bad thing, which obviously I don't think it's actually by any capacity in any way over. I do think that the Ghislaine Epstein Island type of situation is definitely over, that's for sure. But as everybody knows, is that when something like that exposes, they just change tactic. They just shift the location to a different area. They don't change the operation. They don't close the operation down. They just find a new place to do it. That's all that it is. And that is why the Six of Swords is very, very interesting, because it comes into the future tense. It comes in here because it means them wanting to jump the hurdle. Now here we have it facing the passwords. The past between Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell is the World card. And the World card is rather interesting. Why? Well, because it connects them on a world stage. It connects them. Ghislaine Maxwell is the center of this. Yes, Epstein was the co-conspirator. He's the one who started it all. But Ghislaine Maxwell is the brand. She's the face. She's the one who did the operation. Jeffrey Epstein was the abuser. Ghislaine Maxwell was the abductor, the one who did the sting operation, the one who took people away. And this is why the World card is here, because it doesn't just affect the United States, it affects the global spirit thing. It showcases how expansive something like this truly is. And Underneath that, we have the Magician card, which is faces the future. And the future card is representing the magician, the trickery, the lie, the deceit, the evil, the occult, right? The magician. So there is a lot of connections here. And it tells you the story about the Epstein and everything they did and the connection between Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell and their fate together. Because the magician card is connecting that deception, it's also talking about the deception of the past. And how do we know that this card is representing the past? Well, if you've been with me for my channel for a very long time, you'll be very well familiarized that the Six of Cups always indicates the past administration. In this instance, it indicates the past, when especially revolving around children. That is why it's the Six of Cups, and it's facing the direction of the future, which means the trickery and deceit and lies from their connection between Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump. So this is the energy, this is the environment of what we can expect and what's going on here. So now let's go ahead, let's take a look more deeply about Ghislaine Maxwell's fate compared to Donald Trump. So spiritual angels, tell me about Ghislaine Maxwell's fate. Ooh, we have a challenge here. So here we have the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is giving hope. The birdie told me. That's what I'm hearing. The birdie told me. Here she's talking to a bird. And it's the Nine of Pentacles. She had all these luxuries. She had everything going her way. The reason why everything was able to be done and all the abuse was able to happen because she had luck on her side. She had the skill. She had the stamina. She had the will. She had the passion. As messed up as it is, she had that going. And it's being challenged by the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles means time is up. And how do I know that? Well, because here we have is an empty cup. Now, the cup always symbolizes an advantage point. It always symbolizes that your cups are always full. When it's upright, it means that you have an advantage. But it's tilted, it's down, there's nothing in it, it's empty. And it's being coincided by a bill, a piece of paper. You have to hand over the evidence. This is what the Three of Pentacles is symbolizing. So it means that the birdie told me, and the crossing of Ghislaine Maxwell with the Three of Pentacles could symbolize a couple of things. It could symbolize that she might say on record, oh, well, this person told me to do this, and et cetera, and deflect blame from off of her. It could also be the simple fact that she is aware of people saying certain things about her, especially people who she thought that she could trust, has betrayed her. And therefore, the evidence is handed over. So there are many ways that this can go. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look at Donald Trump to kind of understand how the story is really playing out. Donald Trump's fate in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell. Donald Trump's fate in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell. So we have him as the devil, challenged by the hanged man, which is the very hateful, deceitful man. And here you have it, the devil card. This means he is like one of those people who engaged in activity in regard to children. Now, this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes only as well. And the devil card is just simply symbolizing that because here you have it, the boy, the pizza, and the hot dog, right? I think those are the terminologies that they use. But this is the devil. The devil is represented here. And we're asking, what is the fate of Donald Trump? Is the fact that he can control, not only can Donald Trump control children, he can control adults through the children because they're blood related. They're blood related. That's what I'm getting. I'm hearing that they're blood related, and therefore they can control the parents because as long as you get the kids, the blood in terms of that connection, the energetic flow, the frequency can also paralyze the parents. And here you have is the hanged man, which is facing in the future tense, which is crossing Donald Trump, which is the hanged man. He's going to end up in a situation where he's going to hang himself upside down. Now, why is this interesting? Because this is a little more of a literal aspect of your own undoing. What you do, the things that you act, the things you say will lead you to your own undoing. You will be the only one tying yourself. You notice how everybody in this picture is only one man? There's nobody else in this picture, not even a living thing beside the tree. Because this is done by him. You know how everybody always says the narcissist will always destroy themselves over time, just let them hollow themselves out naturally? In this instance, nature will run its course on Donald Trump. The hanged man crosses the devil, which means that he will be the only thing that will hang himself. And not literally speaking, he could actually hang himself, but that doesn't seem to be more literal. But more so the fact that he could literally just damage his own reputation by his own stuff. He can make himself look more guilty by some of the action that he takes that makes him unequivocal connected to Ghislaine Maxwell. And on the top of the deck here, we have the death card. It is a complete ending. Their relationship between Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump is a complete end. There is no connection here. There is no relationship. So the dynamic that we talked about earlier about Ghislaine Maxwell feeling like people around her who she thought she could trust has betrayed her, one of those people happened to be Donald Trump. And the bottom of the deck here is we have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles means the offer stopped coming. So what does this mean? This means that if the trends are true and the energy flow is here, that means that if Donald Trump did the same tactic that he did with Jeffrey Epstein, that means that Ghislaine Maxwell should be on her deathbed, or at least somewhere close to it. And she'll realize that as the time gets closer. And here is the Four of Cups. As she starts to become disconnected, as she starts to get pulled away from the media, from the narration, from people seeing who she is and where she is and what she has to say, the Four of Cups loosens her opportunity, her ability to speak. So she has a choice. And one of the choices is she could choose to speak or forever hold that to your death. She could choose to speak or choose not to. But eventually, death will come for her because she is not to live forever. And I said this multiple times. Multiple times, Ghislaine Maxwell will be dead. And she has a choice. She could either to speak up and expose everybody, or is she going to end up dead? Either way, she's going to be dead regardless of how she looked at it. It's just based on how she wants to go out. How does she choose to go out? Would she let the people with the more power, who she thought she could trust, to defend her and to protect her, is she going to put all her fate, all her eggs in their basket, only for them to betray her and the story to never be released? Or is she going to keep some of her eggs in her basket, but tell them that she had no more eggs to give, and then expose them at the last dish effort before her death? Just food for thought. Now, let's take a look and see, will Donald Trump betray Ghislaine Maxwell? And then how will Ghislaine Maxwell respond? So Spirit Angels tell me, will Donald Trump, the President of the United States, betray Ghislaine Maxwell? Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump betray. Oh, there's a lot of cards here. Okay. First card, King of Wands, followed by the Emperor card, and the last card. Will Donald Trump betray Ghislaine Maxwell? Okay. All right. We have a lot of cards here. Let me just get water. Okay, reflection. All right. What's the bottom of the deck here? We have the Ten of Pentacles. This means that the money and the flow. So if Donald Trump is funneling money into Ghislaine Maxwell to keep her silent and quiet in her comfortable lifestyle, that is coming toward an end. The top of the deck is the Magician, the trickery, the lies, the deceit. So the deception. So that is giving me the betrayal factor, coupled with the Page of Swords. This is Ghislaine Maxwell here. She's representing the Page of Swords in this thing because Donald Trump is the deceptor. He is the deceiver. He's the trickster. He's the liar. He's the magician. She coming in as, oh, hell no, you didn't. That's the vibe that I got from this. That she takes the sword and tried to cut his head off. It's essentially what she does. She kills the beast by cutting the head. Now, when we start to look at the more dynamic play here, when we compare the relationship dynamic between Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump on a larger scale about whether or not Donald Trump will betray Ghislaine Maxwell. Hello, the warrior. How are you, my love? Thank you for showing up. We have the King of Wands here, which is facing the direction of the past. And the King of Wands is a rather interesting thing, actually. The King of Wands is a card that symbolizes a conservative movement, but it means clothes and it means children, it means, conservative family values and stuff like that. That's what the King of Wands relationship means. It means family values. Interesting. And that faces the past. And it's wearing orange, and it's wearing orange, which means the sacral chakra, compared with the solar plexus and the heart chakra, which is green. So the green represents the heart, which means I love, I feel, and I do. I love to feel what I like to do. That's what that means. I like to feel. I like to feel. I like to do. I love to do it. That's what that means. Right? Now, the next card is we have the Emperor card in reverse. And the Emperor card is we're acting as Donald Trump going to betray Ghislaine Maxwell. And the Emperor card is reversed for a very peculiar reason. This means authority, power. Donald Trump is not in the right position to betray Ghislaine Maxwell at this time. But, however, a new opportunity or a new push to propose a removal of the president, a removal of Donald Trump, or a threat to his authority or power is going to force Donald Trump to be boxed in and closed in to where he's going to start to feel as if Ghislaine Maxwell in some capacity, in some form, is getting closer to betraying him. So there's like this sensation here that I'm getting on both sides, is that both sides do not communicate well with one another, and there is a lot of disconnection between the two. So that means that they're not in talks, they're just saying, shh, quiet, I'll send you money, I'm not going to say anything, we're not going to talk. But because of that disconnection, it feels like Ghislaine Maxwell feels like Donald Trump is going to betray her any minute. And she can't help but think about what happened to Ghislaine Epstein. Which we all know, by the way, Epstein's alive. But that's a whole other video, which I already did. Hello, James. How are you, my love? And Donald Trump, however, thinks that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be a liability to him. And because of that disconnection, they are afraid on both sides, for both parties, Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump are afraid that one or the other is going to betray them, and therefore they're not going to know it, but they're going to end up betraying each other, thinking that the other person already betrayed them. But the thing is, they didn't just betray each other because they didn't do anything, but because that sensation, anxiety within them, and that overthinking process inside both of their brains, thinking that one of them is going to betray the other, they end up simultaneously betraying each other. And that is why it comes in here. It comes in as the anxiety figure on top of the authority, which means Donald Trump is threatened by the idea of Ghislaine Maxwell undermining him. So he needs to do whatever he can to undermine her before he can be undermined by Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, the next card that falls on top is the moon, the hidden, the structural, and the integrity. What he is feeling, he's howling at the moon, but he thinks that this is Ghislaine Maxwell ready to take the lobster claw and clamp it right at the legs. He is afraid that that howl would come to squeal. It becomes a squeal, and that also automatically ruins the vibe and the movement, the energy shift on him. And he's afraid of the spotlight. And here we have the Eight of Pentacles. So there is work here. There is effort by Donald Trump to betray Ghislaine Maxwell, and it does show up in the cards here. That is why the Eight of Pentacles is here. Now, when we start to look at the relationship and things that he's going to do to betray Ghislaine Maxwell, because it does look like very definitively Donald Trump is actively going to betray Ghislaine Maxwell. If you've been with me since the beginning of this live, this is the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is rather interesting because this is, again, the advantage point. The cup, you think you had the advantage, but your cup has run out. And here is the evidence. This is the proposal. This is the movement. This is the paper trail. And that is why it falls on top of here. But also that was the reading from earlier in today's video on live. And it's followed by the Strength in reverse. The Strength in reverse. Because of his betrayal to Ghislaine Maxwell weakens his position. Now, Donald Trump is in probably one of the toughest positions possible, because if he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell, he exposes himself as guilty. If he doesn't pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, he opens himself up to Ghislaine Maxwell feeling like she's been betrayed by Donald Trump, and he opens himself up into a liability clause of her exposing him. So there is that connection between the two. There is that sensation. These two sound like Romeo and Juliet. That is essentially what they are. They are karmically tied to be together, essentially, but not in a relationship form. The president can also commute in offender centers. My understanding is such a commutation will free the prisoner. Okay, that's interesting. The president can also commute in offender centers. The understanding is such a communication would free the prisoner. For some reason, I cannot speak English because my mouth is dry, but Okay, so now we understand that. Let's take a look and see what Ghislaine Maxwell response is to Donald Trump betraying her. Let's see if maybe she already betrayed him, and then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so Spirit Angel, tell me, what is Ghislaine Maxwell response to Donald Trump betraying her? Or is she going to betray him not knowing that Donald Trump betrayed her already? Ooh, all the cards already put in their position, that's fine. Anything else? We have another card here. The Hierophant, the government. And what is Ghislaine Maxwell going to do? Anything else? So tell me that's it. What's the bottom deck? We have the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is wishful thinking. Thinking that you caught the fish, that you caught the sneaky link. But it's telling me it's a sardine. Now, what happened with sardines? Sardines mean preserved. It means salty. People use it for like Caesar dressing and stuff like that. Now, what happened with Caesar dressing? Caesar, the name Caesar, which is not the dressing aspect, but the Caesar aspect, is a Roman emperor who was unfortunately, not unfortunately, but who was killed, I believe, by people who was around him that he trusted. They killed him. This is Caesar. So essentially, Ghislaine Maxwell's mind is that, oh no, I'm going to be the next Caesar. They're going to kill me. So let me kill them before they kill me. Not knowing that simultaneously they're going to betray each other at the same time that they believe the other is betraying them. They're going to be the one doing it to each other. But if they just didn't have that anxiety, that anxious feeling, they wouldn't have done it to begin with. And here you have is the 7 of Cups reversed. This means I'm left with no choice. I am boxed in. I am going crazy. I am delusional. I don't know what's going on. There is this connection, miscommunication between the two people. And because Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump are not in connection energetically and talking to one another directly, the communication is ending pretty much finite. And because of that limitation in terms of communication, that is preventing them from not betraying each other. But it is going to lead them to betray each other regardless. And then you start to look a little bit more in the reading when asking about whether or not Ghislaine Maxwell is going to betray Donald Trump. Well, the first card that comes here is in the center is the Hierophant. This is the government. This is the institution. She's blackmail. She's the leader. She's one of the de facto leaders who leads the government. Under her is the Knight of Cups, a proposal, an opportunity. You know what? I actually might come in. Maybe my cup is full. Maybe I have some information that I would like to share with you. Maybe I have some information that I would like to share with you. And on the left side here, which is the past, we have here the Ace of Pentacles. This is the money. So it has to do with the money trail. It has to do with, oh, well, the money stopped flowing to me now. You're no longer funding my lifestyle, my comfortable lifestyle. And therefore, I'm feeling like you're going to start to betray me. Excuse me. I feel like you're going to start to turn on me. So I have to turn on you before you turn on me. So that's what it feels like. I feel like there is a slowness of money, and eventually Ghislaine Maxwell starts to feel like she's being boxed in, that she's about to be betrayed, an upend, and therefore she's going to start to expose, and she's going to say, you know what, I'm done. I have nothing to lose. I'm already losing money. I'm already not living too much of a comfortable lifestyle. I'm worrying about these certain things I shouldn't be worrying about. I'm going to start to make plans to betray you. And underneath, on top of the Ace of Pentacles reversed, we have here what's facing the past direction. It's the 5 of Pentacles. There was a period in time where, I guess in the past, with her relationship with Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell, it feels like their relationship together is that Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell were business partners, or they were engaged in some sort of monetary activity where Donald Trump funded something for a while and then backed out. And at that same point, this is like more of a trauma response to her, and that's what's triggering her anxiety. Is that they had a relationship in the past where Donald Trump was funding something and he pulled out without telling her about the real reason why he pulled out. And because of that, she ended up finding out from a third party that Donald Trump pulled out because he hated an idea. And to her, if she finds out Donald Trump pulled more money out of her comfortable lifestyle, she's gonna start to feel like, oh, Donald Trump hates me. He's no longer an ally now, he's an enemy. That's what the Five of Pentacles is saying, that there's a trauma response, and it has to do with the government. It has to do with the connection that she built, the networking is starting to fail. Now, in the future aspect for Ghislaine Maxwell and her betrayal to Donald Trump, well, we can start to understand it more on a clearer level. Well, the card that's challenging this is the Six of Pentacles. Ghislaine Maxwell to stay quiet is all about money, money, money. You have to give her a sufficient amount in order to keep her quiet. This is the Six of Pentacles. Now, it's being challenged here by the Justice card. There's always that dangling, oh, well, I can always tell the justice system. I can always tell the truth, If you don't give me some money, that's just saying that's the challenge to Donald Trump and her betrayal to him. And here you have it, the Lovers card in reverse. And the Lovers card is rather interesting because the Lovers card symbolizes a relationship between two people. But in this instance, it means a disconnection. It means a complete end. It means no more, no relationship. It is over. And here you have it, the Empress card in reverse. The Empress card means I am okay not having the advances anymore, because as long as I get the final say, then screw you too. Because you're going to take me out, I'm going to take you out. It's that petty feeling, this petty sensation that they're going to try to take one of them out, but they're going to do it simultaneously at the same time. So Donald Trump is going to try to take her out, she's going to take him out, and it's just going to be a whole crap show between the two. But in your perspective, when you start to see it, you're going to be like, okay, well, on the media perspective, you're going to see two people fighting, and they're fighting because one exposed the other. But you're not really knowing the behind the scene details like I described here, because it seems to be a little bit more of like them not betraying each other, but them thinking that the other person betraying, so they have to betray. And that's really where it comes into play. It's not necessarily them doing it on their own, they're doing it out of anxiety and fear. That's what's leading the way. All right, whew, that was a lot of information. Let me just take a second. Okay. I really want to talk about 9/11, but before we do talk about 9/11, let's talk about Nancy Abduction. So Nancy Guthrie, which I think is how you pronounce her last name, not 100% sure. I'm gonna be honest with you, for Nancy, I know zero, literally zero information about Nancy, except the fact that I think it's NBC or CNN or ABC, one of those initials. She's the mother of one of the news anchors who interviewed Epstein survivors, the first one to ever interview Epstein survivors. So there is a connection here between the Epstein link, between Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, all that. That's why I put it in this live chat. So we're going to talk about Nancy. What happened to Nancy? And is she still alive? And if you have any questions in regards to Nancy, by all means, drop them in the live chat. Okay. Spirit Angel, tell me about Nancy Guthrie. What happened to Nancy Guthrie? Nancy Guthrie, what happened to her? Oh, there's a lot of information. I'm hearing the word ransom. It's a ransom. Yeah, Justice in reverse, followed by Four of Swords, the Emperor in reverse, and the Ace of Wands. I've seen like a video of her like in my third eye right now. I'm seeing like a video of her, and like she has like this piece of tape. And actually, I should probably just tell you this is gonna be a little triggering. Just FYI, this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes only. This part might be a little triggering, but I won't be into too much detail. So like there's like a video that was sent. I don't know who was sent to, but it was like a picture or like an image of her like her eyes being closed and her like struggling to speak, but you see it's her. But she's in like a room, and it's like all white, so it's all painted, but it's like a very small like square room, or like square room. And then I'm seeing like a white wall that's occasionally, as the day starts to progress, it gets darker and darker, which means that she is near a window. She's not necessarily in a room with no light. She's in a room with a window. So she's in a place that is, she can escape if she chooses to. She just can't escape because she's tied to the back of the chair, like going like this. And that was on video. We don't know if that's where they're keeping her captive, but that's where the video was filmed. And that is what I'm seeing in my third eye. I don't know if we can verify that at this time. But that is what I saw, and I do feel like there is a ransom note and ransom energy all written all over it. It doesn't feel like murder per se, but it does feel like they are threatening to murder her. But I don't feel like they did yet, but we're going to read the cards and see if they did. But it feels intuitively like they haven't yet, but it's more like a ransom, so that means they want something. And because of her connection to Epstein, I wouldn't be surprised if that would be the case, but that would be the next question that I will ask. So we talked about Nancy Guthrie, and we have the justice card, and the justice card is reversed. Now, this is really interesting because when you talk about justice and you talk about this card in particular being reversed, it is rather potent. This means that we're going to punish you. You took one of ours, we're going to take one of yours. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like for the justice card in reverse. It feels like you took one of ours, I'm going to take one of yours. So you want to know what is the connection for Nancy? Does that have to do with Epstein? Does that have to do with Epstein's spirit? Okay, I'm hearing it has to do with her daughter, not necessarily Epstein directly, but it has to do with her daughter in particular. So the next card that comes in is the Four of Swords. It has to do with a death of a victim or an Epstein survivor. I wonder, and I just say this, I don't know if anyone could tell me, but I want to know if the daughter of the news anchor of Nancy Guthrie done an interview on an Epstein person, but this person died. The victim passed away, or they were killed, or they died later on, or she did an interview with somebody and then they passed away. There was something here. That's the connection, that's the link. The Four of Swords is saying that it has to do with the death of somebody, the death of one of their own. And they consider the death of their own the person who passed. Not necessarily not to say that they were part of the same clade, but because they were symbolically and energetically connected to the victim. So this is personal. This is not necessarily out of the blue. This wasn't just like randomly taken out of home. This is personal. And it's followed and amplified by this next card, which is the Emperor card in reverse. The Emperor card in reverse means to remove somebody from power, to have the authority threatened. The Emperor card in reverse is symbolizing that I am threatened because you took one of my own, and therefore I'm going to take yours. This is the Emperor card re-emphasizing that behavior. And it's being followed by the Ace of Wands, which means an ultimatum. So there was a sensation here that does indicate on the airwaves. So there was images or information that was sent about the whereabouts to Nancy, but it hasn't been publicly revealed where Nancy is because of the ongoing investigation. But there is information that the FBI, the CIA, whoever is involved in this type of investigation is aware of, whether they are part or complicit in this, or that they received information from the abductor and they are waiting to see how this resolved. But regardless of what it is, the FBI, the CIA, and all those agencies already have the information at their disposal. So they are very much aware of more than we do. Now we have here as well as when you talk about the two cards separately, we have the King of Swords reversed. The King of Swords reversed is indicating another card that indicates off your throne, off your power, off your rocker. I wouldn't be surprised if she is forced to sleep on a wall, not a wall, but like sleep on the floor, like a dirty, very dirty floor. And like she kind of like I'm seeing her like scared and like she has like a lot of black like specks around her face, and she's like very cold and wet. And yeah, she's like cold and wet, and she's like in a very dark area. But it's almost like she's in the basement area. Cause I'm seeing like a window. I'm like looking at her on the bottom. She's on the floor, so she's definitely injured. But when you go above her, there is like this small little window that's there. So she's in the basement of somebody's home. This is the King of Swords reverse, and here's followed by the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is interesting because the Six of Pentacles again indicating a ransom. So she's in a home with somebody, and she is being held for ransom. I want to know a little bit more directly, is Nancy Guthrie dead? It doesn't look like she's dead based off of my vision, but um, is she dead? We have the Eight of Cups reversed. It doesn't tell me if she left this earthly plane. So either she is a ghost and the spirit stuck in purgatory, didn't walk into the light, or she's still very much alive. The top of the deck here, we have the King of Cups reversed. The King of Cups reversed means lack of chaos. So there's a lot of like waterboarding information going on. It almost feels like she's by a lot of water. I'm feeling like there's a lot of dribbling and stuff like that. There's a lot of psychological breakdown, a lot of psychological um withdrawn information. It almost feels like somebody is a professional. So this person who the abductor is a professional. This is somebody who, this isn't their first rodeo. This is one of the many rodeos. But she's in the home with somebody in a basement that is wet, has a small window, it's pretty dark, it's cold, she's dirty and filthy, and she is injured, so she can't get up and walk. So there's something there that is preventing her from moving. But it does also tell me that this person is professional, that they are waterboarding her. Now, why do I say waterboarding? Now, because this could be mean two things. They are literally doing like psychological damage, or where she is positioned, it comes across as psychological damage because maybe there was a faulty pipe in the ceiling and they're just dripping slowly into the water puddle. And as it drips, it starts to make the repetitive sound and make the brain go crazy, right? Now, when we have the King of Swords reverse underneath the Temperance card reverse, followed by the Six of Pentacles upright, which indicates the ransom money, we have here the Temperance card is simply symbolizing the transfer, the transition of something. They want to transfer money, and it's going to be behind the scenes. But however, the Scorpio does come up from behind the scenes. Now, what is the Scorpio? The Scorpio is the hidden motive, the animal that clips you when you least expect it, the animal that's dangerous. You think it's good, it tastes great, it's a lobster, but you don't realize how dangerous a lobster can be, especially when all your amenities are exposed without protection. This is the moon card. It means a lack of protection. It means that the abductor, though he is professional, he can leave himself vulnerable. There is a period of weakness here. And it's followed by the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is rather interesting because it doesn't mean they're holding on to power. So this person isn't trying to hold on to Nancy forever. This person is attempting to garner money or garner something. They want something so desperately that they're using Nancy to do it. And here you have it, the separate connection. Could we ask a little bit more directly, yes or no? Is Nancy dead? And the answer is no. This is the Lover's card in reverse. It's saying at this time, after when this reading is done, it doesn't feel as if she is dead. It does feel like she is still very much alive. The question is how much longer is really the question that should be on many of our minds right now. How much longer? All right. So that is what I get for Nancy. I don't really see anything else for her. We do have somebody who asked more specifically about 9/11. So we are going to take a look at 9/11. And speaking of 9/11, we actually had most of our numbers today at 9 and 11 in terms of viewership. All right. So let me just pull up the person's question regarding 9/11. I've been wanting to cover 9/11 for the longest time on the channel. Today will be the first time that we ever cover it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me just take a look at the question here just so we have it. And then we will do a separate live video for everybody else's question at another time. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Taurus asks, there are Epstein file emails that connect Ghislaine Maxwell to 9/11. Can you read on that? Oh, I didn't know there was a connection to Ghislaine Maxwell 9/11. We could take a look at that. And then I was hoping for more like 9/11 questions, but I guess we could take a look at Ghislaine Maxwell. So what is the connection, Spirit Angels, to Ghislaine Maxwell and 9/11, the Twin Towers? What is Ghislaine Maxwell connection to the Twin Towers? Ghislaine Maxwell connection to the Twin Towers. Okay, what's the top of the deck? We have here the Queen of Wands reversed. I'm hearing the communication towers are down. That's what I'm hearing. The communication towers is down. Okay. And here's the page of stories. These are young people. So this is what I got in my ear as I was showing you guys this card. I heard the people on the plane for 9/11. Some of them were the parents that were coming home. Okay, this is gonna be a little dark. So what I heard was on the parents on the plane who unfortunately passed away with the 9/11 towers. Some of the parents on both of those planes did not know that their kids were taken or that their kids were being trafficked. So they must have been on vacation, they must have been aware somewhere, someplace, and it hit 9/11. But anyway, besides the point. They were not aware. And so because of that, there were so many people that had their kids abducted, not knowingly knowing that their kids were abducted, were sent in, were taken away, etc. That they would come home and there would be massive news reports saying, "Oh, these kids are just suddenly missing out of the blue." What it called a nationwide panic because it's a lot of people. And somebody knows somebody. Think about those things that happened on 9/11. Look how many people know somebody who was in some way, in some capacity across the entirety of the United States, knows somebody who passed away during 9/11. The connection here is that those people who were on the plane and also in the building simultaneously were also not involved in the Epstein file, but they did not know that the kids were on the one that was being taken away. So they needed a distraction. So for the first plane, what happened was someone rose for the parents of the kids that were trafficked unknowingly. They never found out until probably after they died. But besides the point. Then the second plane was used as a distraction, because they needed something to get some of the planes out of the country. What does that mean? It means that the elite or the elite class that were engaged in the island and stuff like that needed an escape route. But because of that, it will look kind of suspicious, a whole bunch of planes just suddenly appearing out in the sky. So while the media's attention is on one thing, the other thing is flying out. They're flying now. So they needed an escape. And unfortunately, the Twin Towers was the perfect distraction. It gave media coverage, national, it made the president, skyrocket in terms of national terrorism, and skyrocketed in terms of the institutions and everything therein, that the government was so focused on fighting terrorism, all these different things. It distracted everybody from the real motive, the hidden agenda. The hidden agenda was behind what was really going on. This was a mere distraction. This was an attack of the wealthy on the country itself. It's an attack on the wealthy to cause a distraction to get people out of the country to go to the island. That's what I got. Now, going back into the reading here, I don't know where the card was, but I guess I'll just put it here. We have the Magician card. The Magician card is rather interesting because we're asking about the question, what is the connection between Ghislaine Maxwell and 9/11? Because that was the question that was asked by Torres. Well, the Magician card comes in very clearly, clear as day, to trick to defeat the illusionary. Again, just reiterating here, this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes only as well. I cannot confirm or deny that the Twin Towers fell down for other things than two planes crashing into it, according to YouTube. This is the Magician card. The Magician card is simply saying the trickery, the illusion, the deception, the distraction to a different thing other than what you need to look at. Now, what's the thing that you need to know about magicians? Magicians are very deceptive. They do a lot of practicing. So, for example, you have that little glowing finger, the little finger that glows, right? Now, from a faraway perspective, it looks like an actual finger that glows. But what you don't realize is a little slip that goes on your finger, and they hope that you don't notice it. Whoo, whoo, like that, essentially. It's a trick. That's all that it is. It's like an illusion, a mirror illusion. That's all that it is. That's why the Magician card comes in. It's an illusion. And here you have it, the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups means you're looking at the fish, not realizing how rocky the water is. You're looking at, oh, what's the chances of two planes crashing into a building? Okay, one, that's an accident. Two, that's premeditated. Right? Now, what's the chance of you getting a fish in a cup in a large open sea of water. Now, I want you to go outside right now if you ever get a chance. Take a cup of water, an empty cup, and scoop the ocean into your cup. What's the chance of you getting a fish in a cup? Very, very low. That's what it's telling us. They want you to distract this. Say, oh, well, it's premeditated, da 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 da. But they don't want you to realize that how vast and how open the ocean really is, how volatile it is. And it's being challenged by the page of one, which is facing the past tense, and it's crossing it. It means them looking from a different perspective. This guy who is in this card in this specific position, he is looking at the feet from a very specific angle. Now look at it. He's not looking at this guy this way, like completely straight up. He's looking at this guy from his feet up. This is how he sees it. Let me just see if I can position this right. Oops. This is how I had it positioned. He's looking at it from an angle beyond the individual. He wants you to look at the ocean. Look at the turbulence. What is there? That is what we need to look at. That is what we need to explore. And that is why the connection here, there is a more outward connection. Because look how many lines are in movement. Look how many lines are in the background in the ocean. They're waves, right? But none of them broke. They're all in connection because all the lines are connected together simultaneously. And the next card here, the last final card, the future card, we have the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands means in some way there is a connection here. She is connected, but not as little as you think. She wasn't physically there to, orchestrate everything. She was in some way connected because the 9/11 planes, everything like that, and the tower going down and the crashing and stuff like that. She's connected in the simple fact that it had to do with the Epstein files and a mode of a mode of distraction is the word I would use. And here you have it, the Queen of Wands reverse. The Queen of Wands reverse is very interesting because it means spirituality. It means being in ineptitude. It means standing up and just reigning with power, trusting your intuition. It means I do with confidence. This is reversed for a very peculiar reason because she is not very confident. It's reversed for that particular reason. I am not confident. So, what does that mean? That means that Ghislaine Maxwell is connected only to the 9/11 towers simply on a simple basis. She is connected to the Epstein files and what happened on those planes. But she is not directly implicit on anything else other than that. That is what I got for Ghislaine Maxwell and the 9/11 towers. All right. Let's see. Anything else that we could talk about? Anything else you'd like to talk about, Spirit? No? All right. Looks like we are done. So, the Warrior Widow, by all means, please, by any chance, comment in the comment section of this video. I do want to talk to you privately if you don't mind. Anyway, for all of you guys, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out. I love you, and thank you for all that you have done. Thank you so very much for your love and support and your kindness on this channel. It does not go unnoticed. And I hope you do nonetheless enjoy today's video. Thank you for all who came out to join me. Until next time, peace out. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.